So now, and then the greatest part of being connected to this brand is when you can learn how to walk in obedience. Look at your neighbor and say, my brand got obedience on it. It got obedience on it. I got to get out of here, y'all. Are y'all at Daniel chapter 6? I just want to suggest to you at Daniel chapter 6. Y'all meet me at verse 1. I'll be there in a minute. I'm coming around the corner. I'm too powerful to deal with average folk that don't want nothing out of their life. Know what they want, what their brand represents. Please do me a favor for the third time and high five your neighbor and say, neighbor, you got to know what you want. See, average folks don't want to go nowhere. They're settled in where they've always been. Can I tell you, if you always go where you always went, you will always be where you always was. And I can't stay where I always was when God is turning things around. High five your neighbor for the fourth time and say, God is changing some stuff. You can sit there and act like he ain't doing it in your life if you want to. But if you woke up this morning, yesterday is a day you can't get back. Well, you better look at your neighbor and say, it was cold yesterday, but the sun is out today. It was snowing last week, but thank God that when I got out of my car, I didn't have to have my rubber boots on. Didn't have to have my trench coat on because the sun began to heat stuff up. Look at your neighbor for the fifth time and tell your neighbor, say, neighbor, he's turning stuff around. And he's allowing you to walk in power. Come on. You can't keep dealing with average folk. They don't want nothing out of your life. Touch your neighbor and tell them you too powerful all this. Tell them you too powerful to let this affect you. You too powerful for you to elect the bills. Am I preaching to one person? I am. Just tell your neighbor. You too powerful to let this sickness affect you. You too powerful to let the mortgage affect you. You too powerful to let what all your friends doing as unmarried affect you. You got married, that's because God didn't want you to mess up like they've been messing up. Or I came to talk to a young brother that done failed and thought about falling. I've been there. I came with a mixing spirit in my mouth today. I fell and almost wanted to walk away from the whole family. I messed up. She messed up. But it was the hand of God that kept us together because we understand that if you can confess your fault to me, then I'll confess my fault to you. The brand owner heard it and he said, what I'll do is merge Mike and Ike back together. Y'all know. They don't even know they came. They don't even know the world is going on. I'll merge them back together because it made me a lot of money. Now God ain't concerned about your money right now. He's just concerned about your soul. So if I can bring two of them together and say, yep, I messed up. Yep, I've been down that road. Yep, I stumbled a little bit. It'll be an awesome testimony to a newlywed couple. They say you won't have some hard times, but you can make it a decade if you hold on to the brand that you signed up with. Make your neighbor for the seventh time and tell your neighbor I'm too powerful.
Preach, come on.
Daniel. Not going to preach the rest of it, Elijah. I'm just going to preach this part right here. Daniel. Because I'm ready to shout now. I'm sitting there like I'm mad at me. Daniel. I'm at Daniel chapter 6. Hey, brother, how you doing? Daniel chapter 6. Daniel chapter 6. Daniel chapter 6. Verse 1. I'm not going to read much. Only just some. Y'all should be looking down at y'all Bible. I could be lying to y'all about what I'm getting ready to say.
That's the truth. That's right. That's the truth.
I like to exegete the text, but I want to make sure that you still with me.
Amen.
I want you just to shout and don't know what you're shouting about.
Right.
That's like assembling a bed and forgetting a screw.
Come on now.
Y'all laughing because y'all know y'all did it too. We think that we know everything just because we saw a picture.
Amen.
I put one of them kids' toys together and they was like, Daddy, this is wild. And I said, oh my goodness, I didn't read the instructions. When you take it apart, you got to spend another 2 hours on this stupid toy.
Amen.
And I should not buy it. It's just sitting in your closet.
Amen.
Well, it on the day of Christmas, and I ain't seen it since I started giving this stuff away. They don't play it 3 times, it's gone.
Come on.
Amen.
I bought him a bed, grandmama bought him a bed, but I had to put it together.
Right.
And I put it. Chapter 1, I think I walked in a little text. Daniel, you gotta stand up unless you're gonna talk. Don't stand up unless you're gonna talk. You know that? Daniel chapter 6, verse 1. You find out, Daniel chapter 6, verse 1, that the king is very excited because he got 120 folk he getting ready to put in position.
Come on.
Now from this point on, I'm going to preach in a prophetic way. That if you shout, you're going to get exactly what I say.
Preach.
I promise you this. And he's excited about what he's getting ready to put or elevate.
Come on.
Right.
But out of that 120, he had 3 advisors.
Right.
Around the 3rd verse, we should find these words right here. That out of those 3, there was one that was distinguished.
Amen.
His name is Daniel.
Come on.
Which means that Daniel's lifestyle made him outweigh everybody else. And because Daniel, watch this, had more with the power he rocks with based off of the brand he signed up to, it made everybody that didn't have power mad.
Come on.
Don't believe me, it says, now Daniel so distinguished himself among the administrators and the satraps by his exceptional qualities that the king planned to set him over the whole kingdom. Now wait a minute, because he appointed, watch this, 3 administrators over this providence, but watch this, Daniel's distinguishedness,
come on. Come on.
All right.
made him over who he was appointed to. And the Holy Spirit told me to go ahead and preach to somebody that's getting ready to get an elevation on their job. Everybody's trying to stop you from getting elevated because your qualities, watch this, in your limitless look is offending them because you don't look like you can handle the position. You don't look like everything is going to turn around, like you can take something and turn it around. So every time you talk to somebody, they try to discourage you from what it is, watch this, that you're being elevated to. But high five your neighbor for the 8th time, which is a new beginning, and tell them, but God's still getting ready to give it to me because my qualities, watch this, outweigh my quantity. Y'all will talk to me. I can have one suit and press it out every day and look better than anybody with 17 suits because it's not how I dress myself, it's how I carry myself when I walk in. You want a new job, walk in like you already got the job. So when the boss sees you, he says, I'll take that person over this person any day because they look like they qualified even though they don't have the education to meet the job.
Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord.
I'd rather my brand be represented
Come on.
in a nice way, in a distinguished way, than to have somebody with a whole lot of stuff that can't do a whole lot of nothing.
That's right. Amen. Thank you. Come on.
You have strength. Somebody shout strength.
Strength.
He says at this point, the administrators and the satraps tried to find grounds for charges against Daniel in his 10 minutes, Elijah, in his conduct of government affairs. But watch this. He says they were unable to do so. Can I tell you, I don't know who you connected to, but they're trying to find something on you. Yeah. And the fact of the matter is they can't find nothing on you because you don't give them nothing to talk about. Did I tell y'all when I started that God had told me when this year started that this is the year of triple favor and triple grace? So your haters is really getting ready to get mad because what you wasn't supposed to get, you getting ready to get it triple. Some of y'all quiet because I don't hear this type of preaching. But this type of preaching is this book right here. He says they was trying to find something on him. Watch this. They was trying to find something on him to discredit his elevation. They was trying to find something on him to discredit his elevation. Let me say it again. They're trying to find something on you to discredit your elevation. If you ain't got nobody that's hating on you that bad, keep living. Your haters around the corner. He's trying to find something on them. Watch this to get them discredited from the distinguished quality that he has when the king sees them. Preach, Dre. I think I will right here. At verse 5, he says, finally these men said, well, we'll never find any basis for charges against this man Daniel unless it has something to do with the law of his God. So what folk now are trying to do is file bankruptcy. Touch your neighbor and tell them this is your part right here. They're trying to file bankruptcy against the law.
Preach, right?
Y'all don't want this in here. I'll be with you in a minute. They're trying to find some way to get you to mess up for praising God. Okay, so what they did was now they had the king watch this, sign a decree that nobody is to pray for 30 days because they knew, watch this, I heard you, Jesus, they knew one thing, that if we can get the king to sign off on this, the king won't go back on his word. But what the people did not know, what the other administrators did not know is there's a brain that was above the king that never goes back on his word. And when you give him what he's due, he finds a way to bless you right where you're at. I just preach this text like I know it to be, how it's coming up in my spirit. So what happens is, when you get to verse 10, we almost there. When you get to verse 10, watch this. Daniel finds out that they're trying to find something against him. And what happens is, wait a minute, here it is. Daniel then, watch this, begins to go pray where he's prayed 3 times a day. Now, let me preach for right here in a minute. The king signs a decree that you are not supposed to pray. When you get to this point, I'm still at where I'm at, y'all. Watch this, how it comes to play. The king signs the decree. After he signs the decree, it's in play. Now Daniel goes to pray. These administrators find Daniel praying. But what they did not know is the days that the king signed, David tithed that 10%. Because the Bible says Daniel prayed 3 times a day. But they only wanted him to stop praying for 30 days.
All right. Come on, preach.
Okay, y'all making me seem like I don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah, it says right there, if you don't believe me, it's in verse 7. At the clause of verse 7, it says, for the next 30 days, except to you, your majesty, shall be thrown into the lions. So what, not only did they make a decree for him to stop praying for 30 days, can I tell you, the church must have stopped praying for 30 days for all this killing to be going on.
Come on.
What would happen if we turned what happened to Daniel around and prayed for 30 days consistently? Without grudge or mad that you had to come to the church for 1 hour.
Right.
So Daniel, in verse 10, Daniel, watch this, begins to pray his 3 times a day because Daniel figured something out, that if I give God 10%, he'll make sure that I'm covered when trouble comes. Y'all better high five your neighbor real quick and tell your neighbor it's getting ready to get hot in here. And in verse 10 he says, now when Daniel learned that the decree had been published, he went home to his upstairs and began to pray 3 times a day. Now verse 11 he says, then these men went as a group and found Daniel praying and asking God for help. Can I tell you, the reason why folk is catching you up is not because you're wrong and doing anything wrong. It's because you're doing what God told you to do and you're mad that you're doing it. You better look at your neighbor and say, keep doing it, keep doing it. Do you know every time you praise, the enemy tries to bring something towards you? Oh, y'all not with me? Okay, watch this. Every time you praise, it seems like when you get done, your legs start hurting. It's because the devil's trying to find some accusation to take you out. It seems like when you have the best days in church, Monday morning seems like it's hell morning. But if you do what you did yesterday, watch this. When you was in God's presence on your hell morning, you'll figure out that the sun gotta shine because weeping can only do it for a night. But y'all better look at your neighbor and say, but joy got to come in the morning. The devil's trying to find something against you that you're doing for God. And what's happening now is you got to be like Daniel and be consistent in what you've always been doing. Y'all want me to prove it? Now here's the first point that I want to suggest to you today on my way back out of here is Daniel's praying. But then when you get to verse 13, you find out in verse 13, Pastor J, he says, then said to the king, they came and told the king, because folk like running back telling folks stuff that they don't know what the evidence of truth is. So folk is lying on you, but they don't know the factual truth of what's really going on. They don't know that your brand CEO told you if you stop praying, you're going to lose everything. Oh, I feel like preaching in here. Is there anybody here that high five your neighbor for the ninth time? time before I get out of here and tell your neighbor they're trying to lie on you and that they don't have facts about where you're at. And so in verse 13 you find out that, watch this, the people of God, you find out that these haters, they come and tell the king, you signed a decree that locked Daniel down. You signed a decree, oh hallelujah, that said if Daniel prayed another day that he got to be thrown into the lion's den. And I tell you the reason why you're going through hell right now is because the folk that you with don't like the fact that God getting ready to bless you. They can see your blessing before you even touch it. And they don't want you to get it, so they think throwing you in a bunch of mess is getting ready to deter you from what God promised you. But sometimes throwing me in mess is the greatest time for me to hear from God, because if you're an eagle like me, you get better during the storm. Preach, boy. Oh, you get better when you have to fly through the storm. And the other jokers is chickens that's running in their houses while the storm is going on. If I got an eagle for the tip top, I find your neighbor and say, neighbor, let's fly away. Let's fly away. Let's stay consistent and keep praying. Let's fly away because my power comes from my storm.
Amen.
And then we get ready to get out of here. It says, watch this, they make a critical point in verse 13 because in their 13 represents rebellion. So in their rebellion to try, watch this, to defy God through Daniel like people trying to do you, we find out that they messed around and called Daniel by his name. Y'all ready to be here today? Y'all ready? Just grab a neighbor's hand real quick and shake a neighbor's hand and say, neighbor, just hold their hand real quick. Something getting ready to happen. And say, neighbor, when we call by our name, something got to happen. They messed around and told him the exile from Judah. Who is Judah? Judah is my praise. So not only was Daniel praying in verse 10, but they messed around and ignited Daniel to praise God while he was praying. And they identified Daniel not by his prayer, but by his praise. Because when you pray, God begins to bless you. And while you pray, have you ever been praying and throw your hands up and begin to say, Lord, I thank you for making a way out of no way. That's like the old Tarrytown, y'all, that have an old-fashioned prayer meeting. And while you're praying, you begin to sweat and you begin to feel the Holy Ghost. And some of us begin to speak in tongues. Some of us begin to call on Jesus. Some of us begin to feel the Holy Ghost. And then we feel something different in our body. And we start acting like Jeremiah, where he said it's like fire. Shut up with my thoughts. You better look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, they're calling us by name. Elijah, I think I'm ready to get out of here now. Let's get out of here because he said the exile of Judah. The exile of Judah. Look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, the exile of Judah has begun to define what it is you signed. Still one word. Is there anybody here that can testify that when I was doing the right thing is when everybody began to try to take me down? Shoot your neighbor by the hand and say, neighbor, I feel my praise. Get ready to speak is hungry. I'm going to preach that for the next 15 minutes. But you got to understand the in-between, because what ended up happening is Daniel now gets marched to the lion's den. The king tells Daniel, I hope you know God. Going with me tonight. I hope you know God begins to rescue you. The king tells Daniel, I made a mistake, but I hope your God comes to your rescue. The Bible says Daniel didn't say much back. He looked at him, I'm imagining now. He looked at him to tell him thank you, because you don't know what I was praying in verse 10. I was telling God there's getting ready to be some trying days that's coming this way, but make sure that I'll make it out of it. And I preach like I feel it, y'all. I'll make it out of it all together. I I was telling God, it's going to be some financial situations that I might not see my way through. But make sure that I make it out of it. It's going to be some times in my life that I lose something in it. But make sure that I come out on top. And while Daniel is being lowered down to the lion's den, my imagination of the revelation, when I get information of what happened in the word, suggests to me that Daniel walked in and said, now lions, look at here, I need you to do something. We got to go back to verse chapter 3, and I need y'all to be Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and I'll make a deal with y'all that if you close your mouth and walk around and begin to praise God for me and let me pray, I'll be God here. We begin to make a deal, Pastor Jay, to tell the lions, if you don't eat me, which is the powerful one, I'll feed you in the morning. But you're not here tonight. I came to tell somebody, your praise is telling your blessing. If you can just hold on and let me get out of this, I'll feed you in the morning. I don't know who I came to talk to this morning, but I came to suggest to you, let the haters talk, but tell the lions, I'll feed you in the morning. I just need to get to a place where I can praise God. I just need to get to a place where I can give God a prayer. I just need to get to a place where I can worship the Lord. It doesn't matter how old you are. Get to that place that sometimes is in a messy situation that looks like it's going to devour you. But Daniel was walking in there with confidence that God, I feel like preacher Elijah, that God, push your daddy boy, that God will make a way out of no way. Shake your neighbor by the hand and say, neighbor, I'ma feed them lions in the morning, because I'm praying, y'all. Haters is still talking, and the lion is still hungry. The Bible says that once the king put Daniel in there, what ended up happening is the king could not sleep. Can I tell somebody in here, your hater that put you in the mess got to take medication to sleep because of what they did to you. Based on the accusation of somebody else. Your hater cannot sleep. Your boss cannot sleep. Your friends cannot sleep. Your family members cannot sleep because they put you in a lion's den experience. But they did not know that you took a prayer life with you. I'm out of here, Tarrytown. But before I go, shake your neighbor about a hand and tell them your prayer life is frustrating those that put you in it. I got to go, y'all. Let me give you the rest of the text. Here it is right here that you find in the Bible that the king gets up and he runs to the edge of the rock. Y'all ready to roll back and receive your inheritance? The king is standing there and he shouts to Daniel, Daniel, are you in there? Now some of us that know that God will got a swaggerific type of approach, and we be like, now I'm in here, king. Me and the lions just chilling. I made a deal with them. I'm sitting here. As a matter of fact, after I got done praying, the Lord told me really to take a rest because everything is going to be all right. Look at your neighbor eyeball to eyeball, nose to nose, shoulder to shoulder, and tell them everything is going to be all right. Because the lions is hungry. Everything is going to be all right. Because the Lord sent an angel. I'm still in the Bible, y'all. Down to shut the lion's mouth while the angel's in there. Daniel was able to continue what he's doing. Lord. Translate, Reverend, whatever you're going through, he said, I will leave you, nor forsake you. While you're in the lion's den, he's right there. While you're in the furnace, he's right there. While you're in the sickness, he's right there. While you're in poverty, he's right there. While you're in blessing,